today I'm going to explain the fifth chapter of class 9 science biology, which is the fundamental unit of life, which is the cell. And this video will talk about the plasma membrane, the cell wall, the nucleus, the cytoplasm, and the cell organelle which are present in the cell. Now let's start with plasma membrane. So plasma membrane is the outermost layer of an eukaryotic cell. It is the outermost layer of the eukaryotic cell, and it is called as the selectively permeable membrane. Now why it is called as the selectively permeable membrane? Because the plasma membrane decides that what material should go into the cell and what material should go out of the cell. For example, if we take CO2, CO2 has to be thrown out of the cell. So CO2 will go out of the cell through the plasma membrane. And if the oxygen, which is O2, has to enter in the cell, so and O2 will also enter in the cell through plasma membrane. So that's why plasma membrane is called selectively permeable membrane. It decides what material should come into the cell and what material should go out of the cell. Now this coming and going of material through the plasma membrane is called the diffusion. Now how does diffusion take place? You know that diffusion is the movement of molecules or the movement of material from high concentration to low concentration. So what is diffusion? Diffusion is the movement of particles or the molecules from high concentration to low concentration. So through diffusion, the molecules enter or go out of the cell through plasma membrane. Now there are three types of solutions we have: hypotonic solution, hypertonic solution, and a solution in which the content in the cell and the content out of the cell is same. Now if we talk about hypotonic, now one thing more, that if this diffusion takes place in the water, that for example water needs to go into the cell or water needs to go out of the cell, this is called osmosis. If the process of diffusion is done by the water, then we call it as osmosis. Now we are talking about hypotonic solution. Now what is hypotonic solution? Hypotonic solution is a solution in which the content outside the cell is, let's say for example, let's take the example of H2O. Now the H2O, this is the cell, and inside the cell there is 5 ml of H2O, and outside the cell there is 10 ml of H2O. Now this is called as an hypotonic solution, that the amount of water outside the cell is more than inside the cell. This is called as hypotonic solution. Now at this particular point, the cell will take 5 ml of water from outside to balance the ratio, that this is the outside of the cell and which is inside the cell. So this was a hypotonic solution. What is a hypertonic solution? Hypertonic solution is the content of H2O hypertonic solution is just opposite of hypotonic. In this case, the amount of water is more inside the cell than outside the cell. The cell is 10 ml of H2O and outside the cell there is 5 ml. So this type of solution is called hypertonic solution. type of solution we have is the isotonic solution. In isotonic solution, the content inside the cell and the content outside the cell is the same. Here we can see that inside the cell there is 5 ml of H2O, and outside the cell also there is 5 ml of H2O. So this is called the isotonic solution, where the content is same inside the cell and outside the cell. Now, if we talk about plasma membrane, so the plasma membrane is made up of organic molecules which are called the lipids and proteins, which are produced by the ER, which is cell organelle. We'll study about that later in this video. So the plasma membrane is made up of lipids and proteins, and there are several organisms which use endocytosis to engulf their food, like amoeba. Amoeba uses the process of endocytosis to engulf its food. Now, what is endocytosis? And endocytosis is the flexibility of the plasma membrane. If we take the case of amoeba, this is the amoeba and this is the food particle. Now, what will amoeba do? Amoeba will move itself on top of this food particle like this, and then finally it will engulf this food particle and store it or eat it. Now, this amoeba moves from here to here and here to here through the help of endocytosis, and endocytosis is the flexibility of the plasma membrane. So, amoeba uses the process of endocytosis to take its to engulf its food and eat it or store it. Now we'll talk about our next topic, which is the cell membrane. Now, cell membrane is only present in plant cells. It is absent in the animal cell. And cell wall is an additional layer after the plasma membrane. So, for example, this is the plasma membrane of the cell, and outside the plasma membrane we have the cell wall here. So, it is an extra layer only in plants, not in animals. So, it is the extra layer, and it's present outside the plasma membrane, and it is very rigid. And the plasma membrane is flexible. Plasma membrane is not rigid. Cell wall is rigid, and it is made up of cellulose. Now, what is plasmolysis? What does this term means? Plasmolysis is the when the cell loses something, any let's say for example water. So if the content of water is high as compared to the outside environment, so the cell will lose the water, and after losing the water it gets shrinked up. It becomes very small. So, and because of that shrinkage of the cell, it moves away from the cell wall. So when it moves away from the cell wall, that phenomena is called the plasmolysis. Now we'll talk about the very important part of the cell, which is the nucleus. So nucleus has a double membrane, which are called the nuclear envelopes, which cover the nucleus. For example, this is the nucleus, and it has two membranes. So this is the first membrane and this is the second membrane of the nucleus, which covers it from external damage. Now this is the outer cover and this is the inner cover. So the and nuclear envelopes have pores on them. What are pores? Pores are a sort of hole through which the materials enter into the cell and go out of the cell of the nucleus. Sorry. So pores help in the transfer of material inside the nucleus and outside the nucleus. Now, the nucleus contains chromosomes which are rod shaped. So they are something like this. It contains chromosomes which are something. This is the rod shape. So nucleus has chromosomes which are rod shaped structures which looks like this, and it plays a very important role in the cell division. It plays an important role in cell division. Now we talk about the chromosome. So chromosome is a rod-shaped structure, and chromosome contains the information for the inheritance of the features from parent to the children. What is the information for inheritance? That what will be the eye color of the children, what will be the hair color of the children, what is the skin color of the children. So that information is kept in the DNA, in the form of DNA. The information is present in the form of DNA, and in DNA also. So in chromosomes we have DNA, and DNA also have genes. In DNA also that information is present in the form of gene, and the chromosome is composed of a DNA and the protein. So this why nucleus is very important for the cell and also for the body, because it contains the information for inheritance. Now the next topic is the cytoplasm. There is not much given about the cytoplasm in the book. It is just a dense fluid substance which is filled inside the cell. Okay, this only this one is given in the book. Now we talk about the cell organelles. Now, what are cell organelles? So you know that there are various types of events happening inside the cell. The waste is reduced in the cell. The waste product which is for the cell is taken out of the cell. The oxygen is used by the cell, and the proteins are synthesized by the cell. So these all things are performed by the cell organelles. So these are the 6 cell organelles we will study. First is endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi apparatus, lysosomes, mitochondria, plastid, and backbones. These are the 6 cell organelles of which we will talk about. Now we'll talk about our first cell organelle, which is the endoplasmic reticulum. Now, which is also called ER. Now, endoplasmic reticulum also has 2 parts, RER and SER. What is why are these R and S added to it? Now, RER is rough endoplasmic reticulum and SER is soft endoplasmic reticulum. Now, why RER is called so? It is called rough because when we see this rough endoplasmic reticulum through a microscope, we see that, let's say this is the endoplasmic reticulum, we see small dots on it. What are these dots? These are ribosomes attached to it. So that's why we called it as rough endoplasmic reticulum. We are called rough because it has ribosomes attached to it, like this. And SER is called because it doesn't have ribosomes attached to it. Now, what does RER manufacture? RER manufactures protein and SER manufactures lipids. And I told you earlier also that these proteins and lipids help in the formation of cell membrane, and this process is called biogenesis. The building up of cell membrane by through the help of protein and lipids is called biogenesis. So this was about the endoplasmic reticulum. Now we talk about our next cell organelle, which is the Golgi apparatus. So Golgi apparatus plays a role of a transporter. It store the material, it packages it, it modifies the material, and then it dispatches the material, which is produced by the ER. The ER produces some sort of materials, and then it is gone to the Golgi apparatus. The Golgi apparatus modifies it, stores it, and then transports it to the various parts of the body where they are needed. And Golgi apparatus also helps in the formation of lysosome, which is the very important function of Golgi apparatus. It helps in the formation of lysosomes, which is our next cell organ. Now let's talk about the lysosome. Now lysosome is the waste disposal organelle of the cell. The any waste in the cell is digested by the lysosome, so it is a sort of waste disposal of the cell, and it also digests the foreign material. Any foreign material has come inside the cell, so it also digests that also. And the new virus, that is the coronavirus or COVID-19, also attacks the lysosome of the cell. When coronavirus attacks our cell, it first attacks the lysosome of the cell. And now lysosome. So lysosome is also called the suicide bag of the cell. Why it is called the suicide bag? It is called the suicide bag because uh, for example, any part of the cell is damaged or it is broken out. Now what will lysosome do? The lysosome will digest whole cell. Let's say we have RER here and we have lysosomes here, and RER gets broken down or it get damaged, so the lysosome will actively uh, will come into charge, and they eat up they digests the whole cell with their digestive enzymes. And the lysosomes are filled with digestive enzymes. Let's say this is the lysosome, or this is the lysosome. It is filled with digestive enzymes, and when the cell gets damaged, the lysosome bursts. The lysosomes get burst, and these digestive enzymes are free to roam in the cell, and these this is the cell, this is the lysosome, and the lysosome is damaged, and these digestive enzymes will roam freely in the cell, and they digest the every part of the cell, and uh, after digesting all the content of the cell, they will digest the whole cell, and then the cell dies. And these digestive enzymes, and they are very strong digestive enzymes, so these digestive enzymes are formed by the RER, that is the rough endoplasmic reticulum. Okay, now talk about mitochondria. So mitochondria is called the powerhouse of the cell. Now why it is called the powerhouse of the cell? Because it produces the energy required by the cell in the form of ATP. ATP acts as the energy which is required by the cell to perform various metabolic activities of the cell. And mitochondria have two membranes. Rest other cell organs have only one membrane to cover them, but it has two membranes to cover it. And the outer membrane is porous, which means that the outer membrane has pores on it, and the inner membrane is folded. Inner membrane is deeply folded like this. And mitochondria is special in the sense that they have their own DNA and ribosomes, and due to ribosomes they can synthesize their own proteins, which is a special feature of mitochondria. Okay, now let us talk about the next cell organ, which is vacuole. Now vacuole take up 50 to 90% of the area of the plant cell, not the animal cell, only the plant cell. This is the plant cell. So vacuoles take up the 90%, 50 to 90% of the cell, and they if they take 50 to 90% of the area of the cell, they shift the nucleus to one side. So in plant cell, nucleus is not in the center. In animal cell, nucleus is in the center, but in plant cell, it is present in one side due to the vacuoles. And vacuoles basically plays a role in storage. There are storage tanks, so they store various types of things, for example amino acid, sugar and protein. And it also helps the cell to throw water, or to uh, throw water outside of the cell if it is in the excess amount, if the water is present in excess amount inside the cell. Okay, now we will talk about our last cell organelle, which is the plastid. Now, plastid is only present in plant cells. They are absent in animal cells. And plastids have three major. So these three chromoplast, chloroplast, and leucoplast are collectively known as plastids. So chromoplasts are colored plastids. Chloroplasts are uh, plastids which contain chlorophyll, that's why they are called chloroplasts. And leucoplasts are colorless plastids or white plastids. The chloroplast also contains, in addition to the chlorophyll, they contain yellow and orange pigment. And plastids are something similar to mitochondria, because they also have their own DNA and ribosomes. So this was our whole chapter, which is the fundamental unit of life. Thank you.